guys, welcome. Happy Sunday evening here, and it's getting darker, so hopefully you guys can see me okay, because it is a little bit dark today. I'm going to talk to you guys all about gratitude today, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I'm doing this month and what gratitude is. You're going to get the brief kind of layout of gratitude, how to do it, and I'm going to talk to you exactly some things you can do to kind of cultivate it and why that's important, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm doing this month to help as well. So if you have any questions, please post them below. I'll either get to them during this talk, or I'll answer them afterwards, or I'll answer them in another talk. So my plan really is, November has kind of been this trendy thing where people like get in these thankful challenges and things like that, and I've had a lot of clients lately kind of roll their eyes at it, and it's just like, oh, it's this trendy thing. And it's not just a trendy thing, there's a lot of science behind it, which is why it's really important. And so I'm going to talk to you guys just really briefly about that. And the reason that I'm talking to you today about it is my plan is throughout this month of November is to give you a really good, thorough background and as much as you want to know about gratitude, because I think it is that important. It's probably one of the number one things I teach clients in counseling and in coaching is to cultivate your gratitude. So it's a really big deal, but it goes underrated. It's one of these things that's so simple and it's so easy to do, and it's so obvious, but we a lot of times just don't do it. So I'm hoping that you guys will be inspired to do a little bit more of it. So November, it's not just a trendy thing to talk about like thankful days and things like that. So you'll see challenges all over Facebook and Instagram right now about, each day be thankful for something, or do a different challenge every day, or all kinds of things. And I actually love that. I hate that it's become a trendy thing because people are starting to roll their eyes at it and ignore it, but I love that more and more people are starting to do it, even though a lot of you guys don't even know why you're doing it or why it's important. And so I'm a big believer that, this is going to sound so tacky, but knowledge is power. So the more knowledge that you have about something, the more you do it. So the biggest thing about gratitude is really what we're finding. So there's a ton of science behind this. We can actually scan the brain, have you focus on gratitude, and we'll see a change in your brain chemistry, different parts of your brain lighting up. And what we've learned is we can actually strengthen our neural pathways through that. There are actually neural pathways that go from your heart to your brain, and that connection is made there. So if you guys want to know more about the science of gratitude, I would love to share that with you, but I have a feeling that I'm like one of the few nerdy people in the world that just totally geek out over this stuff, so I'm not going to bog you down with a ton of science. If you want that, let me know. Comment below, and I will do a totally different Facebook post about that. In the meantime, I'm just going to move forward and through that. But what I want you to know is literally gratitude will change your brain. So there's a couple ways that this happens. So where we see that in our personalities is we see that come through in negativity. So if you just think about how negative your day is and how much negativity is built into it, it's a lot. And most people don't actually think about this. So if you think about your alarm goes off in the morning, right? That's this abrupt startle that happens to you. And then pretty soon you're rushed to get going for work during the day. You've already forgot something. The kids won't get up. You don't want to get up. You didn't exercise. You didn't whatever. You're late for work. You have a big presentation. Maybe you're not prepared for it, whatever. But stress usually starts pretty early in the morning. It happens in traffic on the way to work. Depending on what you do on your commute, it can be kind of a big deal, right? So if you're listening to the news, most people, if you turn on the radio, it's a talk show. They've got some kind of drama happening. The news typically doesn't have a lot of positive things happening in it. And then we get to work. And people are either going to complain about their day, complain about the weather. I don't know where a lot of you guys are from, but I'm in Boise, Idaho. Right now it is getting really cold. Winter is coming. But in the summer, people are complaining about how hot it is. In the spring, people are complaining about how much it's raining. And right now, people are talking about how cold it is. It's just part of something built into us is to complain about the negative. It's called a negativity bias. We all have it. It's this evolutionary thing that we have where we're designed, where our brains are just always looking for the tiger all the time. And so part of that is there's not a lot built into us to look for the positive. There's a ton built into us to look for the negative. So you guys, if you notice, like, how come I keep turning into such a negative person? Or how come I complain so much? Or how come whatever? It's this default setting that we all have. So we can override it. And part of the thing, one of the probably the best things we can do is gratitude. So if we talk about some of the benefits of gratitude, probably the first one I'd mention, because I'm a mental health counselor, is mood. So if you think about that negativity bias and how heavy that weighs on you, it's pretty rough on the mood, right? So if you start complaining about your day and think about all these things, your day gets kind of worse and worse and you get more and more negative. So we want to pull you out of that. And part of that is we're rewiring your brain and we're training it to look for the positive. And that's what gratitude does. It's actually helping you find the positive in things. It's helping train your brain to like find the good things happening in your day because you're taking time out every single day to look for the good, right? So that's one of my favorite things is mood, is the big booster from gratitude. Another piece of that is really what we find in emotions. So emotions aren't necessarily good or bad, we need them all, but we tend to classify them as either good or bad. So I'm gonna just reference that here, right? So if we think about negative emotions, fear, anger, resentment, all of those things, they can't coexist at the same time with some of the positive ones. So this is a real black or white either or situation. So either you're angry and you're really mad, or you have gratitude and are thankful and are feeling positive things, right? Those two things can't really coexist at the same time. So if you're in this mental space you just can't get out of, gratitude's a great place to go because you are rerouting your brain to go to the place you want it to. So if you think about that, like take just a few seconds and I want you to think about something that you are really thankful for. That can be a person, that could be your new iPhone, that could be your home, a pet, anything, doesn't matter, but something that you're really thankful for. So I want you just to take that for 1 second, and I'm just gonna pause here, but I want you just to feel that in your heart for a second. Like really think about that thing or that person or whatever it is in your heart. And I want you just to pause and like feel that love you have for that thing in your heart. So go ahead. Don't just watch me, I want you to do this. So think about it. So for me, maybe it's my dog. So Daisy's getting old, but I love her so much. She's been like the best friend I ever could have asked for. And if I really think about it and I like pause and hold her in my heart, like I love her so much. Like as I think about all the times we've spent together, the times like she's been there for me when I've been super sad, or the fun times we've had like throwing a ball, like I literally can feel that right here in my chest. And that's what we're looking for. So when we can feel it and we can actually like feel that feeling of gratitude and love for something, now I want you to take a second and think about if you're mad at anything. And you might have been irritated before you got on this. You might have had an irritating day. Tomorrow's Monday, and most people like get anxiety on Sunday night about the whole next week or the next day. Like just take a second and a time out to just feel in your heart that love and gratitude, and I want you to watch it come down. So like literally you can do this anytime. It takes like 30 seconds. Like rate your frustration or whatever that like negative emotion is that you're feeling on a scale of 0 to 10. Probably not 0 if you're feeling it. And I want you just to rate it, and then I want you to take 30 seconds just to do this exercise and like feel that in your heart. And then I want you to rate it again. And I want you to do this, you don't have to do this every time, but I want you to do this at least once so you see what a significant change it is, right? It's gonna start dropping your cortisol levels, start dropping your blood pressure, start dropping your breathing rate, heart rate, all of those things immediately. This is huge, guys. Like we have done all of this research and all of this studying to try to figure out more things that do this for us, and it's right here. So that's like the number one thing is impacting mood. And you can do this, like I said, 30 seconds, just take a little bit of time out of your day. So that's number one. Number two is it improves relationships. So it doesn't matter if you're in a romantic relationship, if you've got family relationships, friends, coworkers, whatever, you have relationships. And so I want you to think about some of the conflict you have in some of those relationships. So if it's a romantic partner, like, guys, romantic relationships are the hardest thing we ever do. Like, literally the hardest thing we ever do. And so you're going to have conflict with your partner at some point, right? Even though there's a lot of great things about him, you're still going to have some conflict sometimes. So I want you to like think about some of those relationships. And then I want you to think about things you're grateful for them. So our habit, again, because we have that negativity bias, our habit is to go in and to like complain about to our friends, to our coworkers, whatever. We complain about the people in our lives. That's just built into us. Like, you can be frustrated with yourself all you want. That's not going to help it. Like, just recognize like that is part of us and that's built into us. So if we want to change that, right, we just have to change our thinking, but you have to manually do it. Your brain is on autopilot. It's going through the motions. Like, if you want it to change, you're going to have to like actively do something. So I'm giving you guys the secret right here. So I want you to actively like think about your partner a little bit different. So that looks like probably maybe thinking about something you really appreciate about them, or if it's your boss, like nice things that they've said in the past, even if it hasn't been in the super recent past, things that make them really good. So sometimes the people who are really critical in our lives, the thing that's really great about them is that they help us grow, even though it's uncomfortable, right? One of my interns this week was talking about, she got some negative feedback and it was kind of delivered harshly, and she was just a hot mess about it all week, which is okay, but she grew from it and changed from it, right? So she was appreciative and thankful for the feedback, even though it was kind of painful at the time she got it. So recognize the things that you appreciate in these people, right? So there are things, so just take a little bit of time to do that. So one thing is that internal shift for you in relationships is helpful. So you have that switch from thinking about them negatively all the time to starting to appreciate the things about them that are working, right? So that's one of the things that improves your relationships. The other one is if we actually express it to the people in our lives, then we start to see a shift in the relationship too, right? Because if somebody's telling you that they appreciate you or telling you the things about you that they like, pretty soon that starts to strengthen our relationship. So I highly encourage you to say these things of gratitude out loud, to share them, to put them in writing, to do whatever it takes to let the people in your life know how much you appreciate them and what a positive impact they make on you, okay? So that's the second one. If you're in a space with people where you just absolutely can't do that, like, that's okay. Write it down, keep it for yourself, but at least go through the exercise. So this happens a lot. I work with a lot of women in kind of bad relationships or like places in their relationship where they're really struggling. And one of the first things I have them do is start a gratitude journal about their partner. So write down something every day that they did that you can appreciate. It might be really, really small. They put the toilet seat down and they don't always do that. They put their dish in the dishwasher and they don't always do that, right? Like, it can be tiny little things or it can be really big things, right? But take the time to notice and appreciate, because there are good and bad things happening every single day in every aspect of your life, but you're tuned mostly into the negative. So what we're trying to do here is shift your thinking over into the positive. So I want you to focus on that, right? So find something in your relationships that's positive. Okay, so the next area I want to talk about is physical health. So research will tell us that having a regular gratitude practice impacts your health in all sorts of ways. So I've already talked to you a little bit about how it affects your stress response, right? We start seeing your cortisol levels come down. We start seeing your heart rate and your blood pressure come down. We start seeing a shift in your physiology when you're practicing gratitude, right? All of that is so important for our health. I have a practice, my private practice specializes in anxiety, right? And the first thing we do in anxiety is lower your stress, because if your stress levels and your stress hormones are through the roof, you're gonna have anxiety, I guarantee it. So if you're living a really high stress life right now, you have like a stressful job, your family's really stressful, you're not taking time to lower your stress hormones, I can almost guarantee you aren't sleeping well, and you're probably starting to develop signs of anxiety if you haven't already. So take the time for this. This is one of the best things you can do for your health long-term and short-term. So start with this gratitude practice, okay? So the next thing that we see a huge impact in is pain. So people who experience high levels of pain, chronic illness, they have, again, high levels of stress hormones because your body is just reacting to all of that pain in a really stressful, heightened way. Tons of inflammation and all of that because your body's just trying to protect you and heal you. And what we want to have happen is it start to like relax and calm so it can actually like heal in different ways, okay? The next thing is sleep. So improve sleep. So people who have a gratitude practice, particularly right before bed, are gonna fall asleep faster and they're gonna have better quality sleep. So better dreams, less stress dreams, those kinds of things. So fall asleep faster and sleep better. And you guys have heard me say before, sleep is the most important thing you can do for your health, for your mood, for your relationships. Like if you're gonna prioritize anything, it's gonna be sleep. Okay, so we want good quality sleep. Okay, so the next area is self-esteem. So we find that gratitude really improves self-esteem in all sorts of ways. So one of the like really cool ways with all this social media we have right now is what we see for people is a lot like decreased self-esteem ever since social media came out. And part of that's we make all these social comparisons, right? We're comparing ourselves to like all the wonderful things that people put out there. Hi, Chrissy. So what we see is that most people will put out on like their Facebook and their Instagram all the amazing trips they're going on and how great their relationship is. And I hear this from moms all the time, right? Is like their life's so great and their kids are so amazing and they don't have all this conflict with their spouse and like why are they so amazing? And then I've had some clients actually get to know the people that they met through social media and they're like, oh no, their life is just as big of a hot mess as mine is, right? The social comparisons we put out there, we put the stuff on social media we want people to see, right? And then we're comparing ourselves, whether it's body image, whether it's relationships, whether it's parenting, whatever it is, we're comparing ourselves, right? So what we see with gratitude is we start to see you start focusing and just having the space for just accepting yourself where you're at. So you start having like kindness and a little bit of grace for yourself, and we get away from that space of comparing ourselves to others, right? So it also helps increase feelings, positive feelings about yourself. So we can do that in all sorts of ways, right? So I'm not gonna get too much into body image today, but it's something as women we all struggle with, most men too. It's not just a female problem. But we start comparing ourselves like in the mirror, we compare ourselves on media, we compare ourselves to our friends, we compare ourselves to the person next to us at yoga class, we're comparing ourselves all over the place. And so we really are harsh on our bodies. And so if we go back to that negativity bias, right? What are we programmed to do? We're programmed to look for the negative. So that's what we do. That's what we're focusing on in our bodies, right? So if we can choose something that we feel positive about in ourselves, we can start to shift that. So I am not one of those people. We know positive affirmations work. We know that they work really well. We know that you don't even have to believe them for them to work. But I am not somebody who can stand in front of the mirror and say like, oh my God, I just love my cellulite so much. It's like my favorite thing about myself. It's not gonna happen. Chrissy says comparison is the thief of joy, and it completely is, right? So if you can't like choose something that like you really don't like about yourself, don't focus your gratitude on that aspect, right? Choose something that you actually do have gratitude for, right? Like I have gratitude for my health. Like I'm not always healthy. I get sick a lot. I have some autoimmune stuff. So I don't take that for granted anymore, but I used to, right? So when I feel healthy and I feel good and I'm up and I'm about and can go exercise and do things with my friends and all of this, I have tons of gratitude for this body, right? I have arms and legs and I can see. One of my jobs is I teach counseling students for a disabilities program, right? So they go out into the world and they help people with disabilities in all sorts of amazing ways. And it constantly blows my mind, like hearing my interns talk about like they're, working for the Industrial Commission for the Blind, right? Or they're working with people who are deaf or who have mental health disabilities, or they have physical disabilities, right? Those are all places where I can just focus on gratitude for myself, for my body, for my mind, right? So I want you guys just to choose something about yourself that you actually can be grateful for, that you can be proud of, that you can have thankful for, right? So that's self-esteem. Next up is resilience. So this one, you guys might not be familiar with the word. I feel like I've seen it more and more coming out, but in the mental health world, we really think of resilience as kind of like the immune system for the mind, right? So your immune system in your body, we know we want to be really good because it helps fight off illness. So the immune system of the mind is really resiliency, right? So when bad things happen, we have resiliency and our mental health stays intact and keeps kind of trucking us through all of that, right? So the better resiliency you have, the better you're going to handle anything stressful that comes your way, right? So maybe that's trauma, maybe that's a car accident, maybe that's just day-to-day stress. So what we want is really great resiliency. So we find with gratitude that this actually strengthens your resiliency, which is amazing, right? This is like a pill you can take that strengthens your immune system. This will actually strengthen your mental health and your resiliency, right? So we want to practice that for this probably second most important reason. So I told you the first most important reason was mood. I'm going to say the second one is resiliency, right? So let's talk about what you can do about gratitude. So I've spent a lot of time talking about the benefits of it. Let's talk about what you can actually do. So I'm going to get into, in some later posts, more in depth with some of these, but I'm just going to share real quick with you guys some of my favorite things. And then I'm going to tell you about what I'm doing this month for gratitude. And you guys are welcome to join along if you like. So one of the first ones is just journaling. So it's very simple. You're going to write down either one thing and kind of elaborate on that thing for the day. So we talked about in relationships, this could be about your partner. In your health, your body, whatever. It could just be about your day, right? Like, I'm just so grateful that we had beautiful sunny weather today, right? Maybe that's the thing. It doesn't have to be this profound life-changing thing. Some days you're gonna be like, blow your own mind with the great thing that you came up with, and other days you're gonna be like, best I can do is hot water. I had hot water for a shower today, and we're gonna call it good, right? But write about that thing and be excited about it. So either get in depth with one thing or choose 3 things that you're grateful for each day and just jot them down. I like keeping this in a separate little journal because then you can go back to it at any point and you've got this book full of treasures from your day, from your month, from your year, just kind of as you've gone through, right? If your focus really is on your relationship, I encourage you just to keep like a little notebook or a journal just specially for that. And this makes it's really a beautiful thing to go through if you're feeling frustrated with your partner. It also makes a great gift. So one year I did this and I started on January 1st and I kept it for the whole year so I could give it to him for Christmas the following year. So just get creative with it, whatever kind of makes sense, but keep it somewhere. It's just for you. You don't have to share it with anybody. You don't have to give it to anybody. This can just be for you, but write it down. We find that writing with pen and paper with your hand is actually more beneficial and impacts your brain differently than typing. But if typing is the thing for you or apps are the thing for you, do it. Go for it. Whatever's gonna work for you is gonna be the thing that's most helpful. I will give a shout out to the 5-minute journal. It's an app for your phone. I think it costs a couple bucks now. I got it back when it was free. Or you can there's a paper version too. And it asks you a couple questions in the morning and a couple questions in the evening about your day and helps you focus. So it takes 5 minutes. I'm gonna guess less actually. You can actually add a photo too. So if you took photos with your phone that day, you can choose a memory to put in there too. So I really love that app and it'll go off. I think mine goes off at 7 a.m. and then again at 8 o'clock at night as just a little bit of a reminder. So the next thing, this is gonna be painful guys, so just bear with me, but is meditation. Everybody hates meditation and we'll do a whole separate live on that later because the benefits of meditation are kind of mind-blowing at this point. All the evidence is there. We can't deny it any longer. This is really an important part of our mental hygiene. So meditation. So you can listen to a guided meditation about gratitude. My friend Benjamin Schofler, he has a ton of great stuff on YouTube and a podcast out there. So he's got some really great meditations you can listen to. There are a million out there on Headspace, Calm. There's all these apps now. A ton of stuff on YouTube. You don't have to pay for it. Listen to a guided meditation. Do a search somewhere. You're going to find somebody who's done one. Again, I really love Ben's stuff, so check him out. But meditation. So you're just going to focus on something for gratitude. Really the goal here is when we can feel it in our heart, like I took you through that exercise earlier, we can feel it in our heart, it starts changing our brain. So we want to do that. So I just want you to sit. If you want to do this on your own, you don't want it guided, just sit, focus on something that you're really grateful for, feel it in your heart, and just spend a few minutes, or go through a couple people in your life that you're really grateful for, and just imagine like out of your heart, like pouring out all this love and like it going to them, right? One of my favorites is loving kindness meditations. And this is another one my clients tend to hate, but it's so powerful. And again, there's neuroscience behind it, so there's no reason not to do this. And what it'll do is it'll walk you through this exercise. There's a ton of guided meditations on this, but it's have love for someone that you love, and you're like sending that out to them. Send love out to someone that you don't know. So you just imagine a person out there in the world and you send love to them. And then the last one, which is the most painful for so many people, but that's why it's so important. The hard things are the things we need to be doing, guys, is to have love for yourself and to send it to yourself. And then there's some that will send it to the earth or animals or whatever. So just like focus on something and spend a little bit of time in it every day, right? So that's the 5-minute meditation. Another one that's really great for people is prayer. So if you're like finding kind of your spiritual peace, for some people that's going to be meditation. For other people it's prayer. So whatever that is, just spend some time in just thankfulness and gratitude, and like just allow yourself to feel that. That's where the change is going to happen. Okay, so last thing is, what am I doing for November to practice gratitude? Because I love this silly little tradition that we've created of just spending the whole month in it. So I am participating, and you may have seen this on social media. I talked about it on my Instagram. I've talked about it a little bit on Facebook. I am participating in November. So there's different Novembers. People are doing it different ways. Here's how I'm doing it. So every day this month, I am sitting down and writing a letter of gratitude to someone, and then I am shipping it off. So we are on day 3. So I've got 3 letters written that I need to put in the mail tomorrow. And I'm just letting the people in my life know how much I love them. So why I love this exercise is because when I sit and I'm sitting down and I'm writing it, like I'm really thinking about all the things that I love about these people. And then I know that they're going to get it, and they're going to have this moment of like gratitude too, right? Like it feels good to get those from people. So, November. So if you want to participate in this with me, I'd love it. We're only on day 3, so you can totally join in. I have these beautiful little, it's gonna be backwards. It says gratitude is the memory of the heart. So I have these beautiful little cards that I like to send out. I'm gonna run out of them. I don't have 30 of them this year because I did this last year too. If you want a letter of gratitude from me, PM me with your address, and you will be one of my people this month. I'm happy to do even more than 30. So I love this exercise. It puts me in such a great space. I personally do it in the morning, usually. I like to start my day off kind of like focusing on what I'm most thankful for, filling kind of my heart and my soul with a just ton of love for the people in my life, and then going about my day. And it improves my day so significantly, you guys. So please try something, whatever that looks like. Daily practice is better. Like I said, there's some evidence that shows that nighttime gratitude will help you fall asleep and stay asleep better. Morning gratitude will kind of carry you through the day better, right? And if you need a gratitude break, right, we talked about those negative emotions, cancel things out, right? If you need a gratitude break to kind of increase your like resiliency and shut down the fear or the anger or whatever's happening for you, like take the 30 seconds, the 1 minute in the middle of your day to do that. Okay. The other thing I'm doing this month is I'm going to talk about gratitude all month. So I'm going to do that mostly here on my business page. So I'm going to share this first one to my Facebook personal page, and I'm going to share it in my group. So if you're a woman and you want to learn more about relationships or just how to love yourself a little bit more, head over to my Facebook group. It's Attracting Extraordinary Love. And we're going to talk about gratitude over there too. I did a little poll, and so far, I'll check in tomorrow, but so far everybody's asked mostly for lessons on gratitude. So continue following here. I'll announce some of these talks before they happen, but gratitude I'll be talking about all month. So reminding myself like of the benefits of gratitude so that I can talk to you about it. It's one of those helpful ways to kind of get me in that mindset and remind me. speaking it out loud and sharing it helps, right? You guys interacting and sharing lots of comments and lots of questions and all of that. I'm happy to share more. So just brief overview of what we talked about today. So gratitude backed by neuroscience, like legitimately, if you guys know me at all, I was a psychology undergrad. I have a research focus in my psychology undergrad. I don't do things that are fluffy. I think a lot of counselors can be very fluffy and everybody thinks of us as very woo-woo, right? I am not one of those people. I don't do it unless there is research and there's evidence, or I see it in my practice, either in myself or in my clients or my coaching clients. If I don't see it create change for people, I don't ask you to do it, and I don't do it myself, right? I'm not asking anybody to do anything I'm not willing to do myself. So this stuff is backed by science. We see it in brain scans, we see it in people's mood changing, their health, all of these different areas we talked about today, right? Join me in a few days. I will let you guys know when, and we'll get more in depth into some gratitude practices. And if you want to know more about the neuroscience, let me know below, and I'm happy to do a whole Facebook Live on the nerdy, geeky stuff if there are people that are actually interested in that. I kind of think it's just me, but thank you guys so much for joining. I see we have got a bunch of people on here. Tanya, Brian, Ben, Chrissy. Thank you guys so much for joining. Please share this if you feel like it was helpful at all. Watch it from the beginning if you tuned in kind of halfway through, any of those things. So thanks guys. Have a great night and a great week.